Today we're continuing to explore the ways in which the family of Dr. Oliver Hill maintained his spiritual legacy in the months and years immediately following his sudden death in 1939. As we've gone through this part of Laurel's history, we have frequently shown the Hill family portrait that was taken just a few months before Dr. Hill's death. Today I'd like to begin by focusing on the one person in that photo who is not a blood descendant of Oliver and Vivian Hill. Ed Chavannes was born in Knoxville in 1907. After graduating from Knoxville High, he attended UT. During his junior year at the University of Tennessee, his life was changed forever when he met a particularly interesting freshman by the name of Mary Hill. Ed was 3 years older than Mary, and Mary was determined to finish her college education before settling down with a husband, even one as great as Ed. And so after receiving his degree in 1927, Ed had a little time on his hands. He decided to use that time pursuing a career that involved his second great love, music. Ed was not just a singer. He was a good singer. In fact, before meeting Mary, Ed was frequently the featured soloist in his church choir, which is another way of saying that Ed did not grow up Church of Christ. After finishing his studies at UT and while waiting for Mary to graduate, Ed studied voice briefly in New York, then went to Hollywood at the urging of two very powerful friends that he had in the entertainment industry. The first was fellow East Tennessean Grace Moore. Grace had grown up in Jellicoe and gone on to become a world-famous soprano for the Metropolitan Opera. Her influence as a singer was so profound that it's rumored that Elvis Presley named his estate Graceland, partly in honor of Grace Moore. When talking films became all the rage, Grace was tapped by Hollywood to play roles that required singing. Grace, Ed's friend, arranged for Ed to meet another friend of hers in Hollywood, a man by the name of Louis B. Mayer, head of Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer Studios. On his very first visit to the West Coast, Ed was picked up at the train station by a private car sent by Mr. Mayer himself. Not a bad way to begin a Hollywood career. Ed appeared with Grace in one film, the 1930 movie A Lady's Morals, which is the life story of Jenny Lind, the famous 19th century opera singer. Ed would later say, and this is a quote, "It was a very interesting experience, but I soon discovered that I was not an actor." After finishing his only film, Ed could not get back to Knoxville fast enough. During his time away, Mary had finished her degree and she was ready to settle down. And so they married on December 21st, 1931. Ed joined Mary at Laurel, where he very quickly became the church's primary song leader, which was a position that he held for several years. Now, I actually have quite a bit more to say about this man, but for this week, I want you to notice that Ed Chavannes, the son-in-law of Oliver and Vivian Hill, husband of Mary Hill, is in fact the very first person associated with the Laurel Church to appear in a Hollywood movie. That's this week's Laurel Minute.